Alive and alert on the north side of the dirt. It is your man D-Real coming at you with another Be Real with D-Real, where edutainment is what I do. I have been waiting to do a video on this particular TV show for a long time. And now it's getting ready to happen. Now, before it does happen, I need y'all to do what y'all always do for me. Comment, like, subscribe, and share the Be Real with D-Real page so that when new material comes out like this right here, you get first crack at it. If you're digging what a brother's shoveling, put some dirt in my bucket, comment, like, subscribe, and share the Be Real with D-Real page. Please. And thank you for those of you who have been commenting, sharing, and liking this page. Okay. About 4 months ago, I got introduced to one of the most amazing and cathartic, you can appropriately use the term cathartic when it comes to this, experiences I have ever had watching a show. Reservation Dogs. Boom. Let's just do this right here. Following the exploits of 4 indigenous teenagers in rural Oklahoma who steal, rob, and save in order to get to the exotic, mysterious, faraway land of California. To succeed, they will have to save enough money, outmaneuver the meth heads at the junkyard on the edge of town, and survive a turf war. Oh my goodness gracious. This is probably by far the most delightful cast of people I have ever seen on a show. Now, this gentleman right here, DeFaro Woon-a-tai, hope I said that correctly. I guess he kind of leads the cast. I wouldn't necessarily say he leads the cast because it's kind of an ensemble cast because like it says, it follows 4 teenagers. He's one of the 4 teenagers they follow. He goes by the name of Bear. This young lady here, K. Deborah Jacobs as Laura Dannon. Yes, it's just like that Laura Dannon from Willow. My man over here, Lane Factor, known as Cheese, and rounding the group out, and my personal favorite is Paulina Alexis as Willie Jack. Oh man. What can I say about this show? How about this? Creator and producer Taika Watiti, along with Sterling Harjo, won a Spirit Award for Best New Scripted Series this year. Show came out in 2021. It's in its 2nd season. I don't want y'all to keep looking at that picture of Taika Watiti because I know it's making me feel some kind of way too. No offense to Taika Watiti. Just, I would say Taika Watiti is infinitely better and shines supernova bright with this work than I would say with his Marvel work. I like Reservation Dogs 100 times better than Love and Thunder and Ragnarok and all that because, in my opinion, Watiti stays in his lane for this. Excuse me. He doesn't feel out of place or forced. And like I said, it follows these indigenous teenagers on the reservation. And you always hear them talking about res life. Res this, res that. Oh, that's so res. You know what I'm saying? And it will be the equivalent, of hood, street, thug, or ghetto. And so I think that is one of the reasons why I relate to this show so much, because it ain't about racism. It's more about classism, told from the lower class perspective. And again, I get it. I grew up in projects, so I understand not having enough, or making do with what you got, or hustling and grinding to get what you need. And this comedy drama captures the essence of that beautifully. Bear or Laura, Willie, Jack and Cheese, they just want to go to California. And they also want to do it to honor their dead friend. You take a trip. You could do an exodus. That is another way of honoring someone you claim is your friend or that you care about. Ha, ha, sideways, sideways. Managed to edge it in there. Anywho, um, like I said, the show has been on for 2 seasons, and FX would be out of their collective minds if they decided to cancel this show at this point. Because not only is it good, it's award winning. It's got high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and fan scores. So it's not just that the critics like this show, people like this show too. If the critics and people agree, which rarely happens, as we've seen recently with movies, it's got to be a good jump. Another part of the show is that it digs so deeply into indigenous American culture and takes us along with it. Like, for instance, until I started watching this show, I had no idea that it was a bad thing to look an owl in the eyes, or to, see owls, because there's a lot of times during this show where there'll be a statue of an owl or a picture of an owl, and they'll literally turn their heads away. Also, too, they'll have it, the owl's eyes pixeled out. That's how deep into indigenous culture that this show gets. Also, various characters on this show talk to supernatural beings. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get in the way of the story. It goes along with the story. It's not like this person talking to this ghost warrior that's trying to give them advice, and then it's funny because the ghost warrior is giving them crappy advice.
Yeah, my name, William Knifeman. I was at the Battle of Little Bighorn. That's right. I didn't kill anybody, but I fought bravely. Well, I didn't actually fight. I actually didn't even get into the fight itself. But I came over that hill real rugged, like, I saw Custer like that. That yellow hair, he was sitting there. Son of the morning star, that guy right there. Fuck, I really hated him. So I went after him. But then the damn horse hit a gopher hole. Fucking rolled over and squashed me. I died there. This horse, actually, little shit. And now I'm meant to travel the spirit world, find lost souls like you. The spirit world, it's cold. My nipples are always hard. I'm always hungry. Got it.
And that ghost warrior is hilarious.
What are you gonna fight for? Nah, I'm just fucking with you.
You know what I'm saying? It got to the point where, excuse me, I started looking up things, about indigenous culture, and noticing, there were things that in stateside indigenous Americans had in common with Alaskan indigenous Americans. And the one thing that is common throughout the culture, no matter where you're at, is fry bread. Fry bread. Fry bread. Greasy, greasy fry bread. Yeah. So my thing with this show is I 150,000% recommend it. I recommend all of these little young actors. Also, Zahn McClarnon as Big, and he's like the cop, but he's like the lovable idiot of a cop. Everybody makes fun of him, but the wonderful thing about this show that I like too is that even supporting characters get a story arc. It's like there are these two little people that are always on the show, and they're rappers, and I think they're popular. They were on America's Got Talent or one of those shows, and they're rappers, and they actually got bars. You know what I'm saying? Um, and we actually get, at some point to hear a little bit of their story. Then, there's a whole episode dedicated to Bear, a whole episode dedicated to their relatives. There's an episode where the parents, Bear's mom and his aunt and their, friends, how they grew up together and how they all kind of still sort of hang out. It was really, I could relate. And I think a lot of brothers and sisters that rock with me would be able to relate to this show. And my thing about it is don't take it in all at once. Take it in a little bit and process it. Because I watched like the first 3 episodes of season 1 back to back, and I kind of marinated on it a little while. And I was like, ooh, oh, you know what I'm saying? And the more you dig off into it, the more you get immersed in the culture and the slang. I mean, they got a whole slang. You know what I mean? Where bruh, I can't even begin to describe most of it to you because number one, I'd probably mess it up, and number two, I'd probably mess it up. So I just, you might not be able to get into it, but even if you're not into it on that level, it's still good entertainment. And like I said, I highly, 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 highly recommend Reservation Dogs. If you don't have no Indian in your family, it'll be a discovery for you. And if you do happen to be of indigenous blood, I think that there will be moments where you nod your head at the very least, and that you will stand up and cheer at the most. Another thing I like about this show, the women on this show are not all glamorous. You know what I'm saying? They're attractive women, granted, but they're not glamorous. You know what I mean? They're not over the top, curvaceous, sexy, and all of that. They're beautiful women, don't get it twisted. But when you look at them, you're like, oh, that's the girl, down the street, around the corner that I could walk up to, approach and say, hey, hi, my name's such and such. How you doing? Good to meet you. You don't feel like anybody that you run into in this show it would be out of your league in real life. You know what I mean? And I think watching women who are actually attainable to a layman or a normal guy is more preferable than watching all of these, super duper chisel body perfect women, because we all know in real life there are more contemporary shaped women than there are exquisite or quote unquote what the eye of the media calls attractive or beautiful or perfect or that kind of a thing. So it's a commentary of that. And that beauty is subjective. You know what I'm saying? Eye of the beholder type thing. And you could behold something and see something beautiful in something that the average people or the majority wouldn't. Again, highly recommend this show. If nothing else, go and watch 1 or 2 episodes. If you ain't impressed or you can't get into it or it doesn't pique your curiosity after 1 or 2 episodes, I understand. But you at least owe it to yourself, man. Check out Reservation Dogs. My only regret is I didn't get turned on to it sooner because I knew of the show and was like, Reservation Dogs. That probably ain't my cup of tea. And left it at that, But, one of my indigenous friends was like, hey, do you watch Reservation Dogs? And I was like, I've seen it, but I never watched it. And he just kind of made this face and pointed at me. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a challenge. So I'm gonna sit down and watch me a couple episodes of Reservation Dogs. And I started watching it. I was like, it's shocking to me how much I identify with this show. You know what I'm saying? I identify with this show. That's incredible. I like the fact that I'm able to identify with this show. You know what I mean? So again, have you seen Reservation Dogs? Have you been watching Reservation Dogs on FX? It is an amazing show, and I highly recommend it. They just finished their 2nd season, and I think they will be coming back for a 3rd, but you might want to look into that and find out yourself. If not, you really owe it to yourself to watch the 2 seasons of Reservation Dogs that are out if you haven't seen or they're planning to cancel it. I don't know if they're planning to cancel it. I don't think they are. But if they aren't, either way, you should watch this show. It's amazing. If you have watched Reservation Dogs before, drop it in the comments. And as always, I will be coming at y'all with another one of them other ones. And until I do, y'all be good with each other.